There are 5 flavors: bitter, sweet, salty, sour, and umami. And each of them have their own special trait, their own special quality that makes them desirable to put in a meal. Bitter is like great art. It's an acquired taste. When we're kids, we don't want to watch a movie from the 60s or 70s that may be a classic, but doesn't have the same CGI that we see now. When we take a sip of our parents' coffee, we don't like it because it's too bitter. We can't imagine how anyone would ever like that. But we grow to like bitter things. We grow to like tea and coffee because it gives us energy. And great art is the same way. When you read and watch and consume the art of the greats from decades ago, from centuries ago, from millenniums ago, we learn from it. This is time-tested work. And it gives us energy because when we see it, we see the tools and techniques they used and how they worked and innovated and changed the paradigms of their medium. And when we learn from that, it gives us energy to make stuff ourselves. And to build off that, Salty is like the nonfiction, the memoirs, the interviews, the biographies of those artists. To learn their process, how they lived, how they thought. If great art is like the picture on a Lego set, then the interviews and biographies are like the inside flap with the step-by-step instructions. They're both necessary. You use both when you're building something for yourself. And next is umami. Umami is like the body of the meal, the broth, the stock, the big pork roast where all the other foods surround it. Umami is like your real life. It's like nature. It's the stuff you observe, just walking around, just living, the experiences and events that have shaped you, the people in your life that make compelling characters, and the things you observe in nature. Because wasps collecting dirt for their home tell a story whether or not anyone is watching. Squirrels collecting acorns for the winter tell a story whether anyone is watching. Same with the birds, same with every animal and plant. So observe them and learn the themes that you could possibly convert into compelling stories. Next is sour. Sour is like the warheads you and your friends would eat and try not to pucker up when you were kids. You don't see it used very often when you're older, but it has its purpose. Sour is like amateur art. People on the same level as you, with the same resources and the same amount of experience. They have their value for 2 reasons. 1, they have different influences than you. They use different tools and techniques. Observe them. Because you can use what they use because they're on the same playing field as you. And also, let a little bit of jealousy rise when you watch them. Their story is in their persistence, is in their work effort. If they make blog posts 2 times a week, that should inspire you to make more. Let it be an unspoken competition. If they're on the same level as you, you should be doing more in terms of work, persistence, determination. And finally, is sweet, sugar, candy, dessert. Although I'm not a fan of this, it has its purpose too. Sweet is like the top 40 charts, the viral videos, the bingeable shows. They're the dessert of a meal. When you consume them, it's not trying to find a deeper meaning. It's not trying to learn from them to have like original work. No, you consume them just to enjoy. You watch sitcoms just to laugh at them. And there's room for that. There's a necessity for that. Because not every piece of art is just consumed so that you can create original work of your own. Some of it just needs to be enjoyed. So you need all 5 flavors. And there's a hidden 6th one, spice. Spice is pump up motivation, and it's not actually a flavor. It's too broad. It's too generic. It doesn't inspire you to do something specific. When you consume spice, when you consume motivational pump up, you may feel it on your tongue. It may make your heart beat a little bit faster. But you won't do anything because you don't know what to do with it. That's the danger of spice. Avoid spice when you're making creative work of your own. Because it can trick you. It can trick you into thinking you have energy to do something, but you will never create anything because you don't know what it is you're supposed to do with it. So I've explained these ideas, but now how do you act on them? Here are my 2 pieces of advice for what to do with this. When you make a meal, you use all the flavors, or as many as you can. You don't take them one at a time. You don't sprinkle salt or sugar onto your tongue when you're hungry. Make a meal with a little bit of everything. Watch an old film, a classic, and then find interviews with the director. And then think about experiences from your life which somehow relate to that thematically. Or in nature, how you see that played out. Then find amateur artists covering the same themes as you. And see what they do, see the tools they use. And then take that little bit of sweetness, that little bit of entertainment, just for entertainment's sake, to let the meal digest. And when you make the meal, make sure that it all connects thematically. When you're making tacos, you don't throw gravy on, because it wouldn't make sense. Don't combine foods that don't work, even if it's just because they have different flavors. Make sure that the stuff you're consuming connects thematically, because that will guide your creative work. So after you've eaten a meal, after you've let it digest, the next morning you will be hungry to create. So that's what you do. Consume all the flavors, and you will be hungry.